Welcome to another deep dive with us. Today we'll be delving into the lives of two really remarkable women, Caroline and Pélagie Baudin. Now, you might be familiar with Allan Kardec, the sort of considered the father of Spiritism. But have you ever heard of these Baudin sisters?
Probably not.
Yeah. Their story is really interesting. It's a journey into those early days of the Spiritist movement. And their home, it was kind of this unexpected setting for a lot of Kardec's, groundbreaking investigations. So
Yeah, their story's really interesting, and they're often overlooked in the history of Spiritism, but they were so important in guiding Kardec as he developed the ideas that would eventually become the Spirits book. It's a story that challenges our assumptions about the origins of Spiritism, and it reveals those people who were kind of hidden figures behind major movements.
Exactly. And today's deep dive is based on excerpts from the online Spiritist encyclopedia hosted by the Fraternidad Luz Espírita, which
No.
a really interesting source we'll be kind of jumping into. Our journey starts in Paris in the 1850s, a time of, immense social and intellectual change. So picture this. The Baudin sisters living these seemingly ordinary lives, yet they harbored this extraordinary secret. There were these powerful mediums, but they weren't just ANY mediums. They directly shaped the course of Spiritism.
And that's what's remarkable about these sources. They paint a vivid picture of the Baudin sisters' lives, both ordinary and extraordinary. So they were the daughters of François-Alphonse Baudin, who was a merchant and a civil engineer, and Barbie Mathilde Eberlin. Their family had roots in the commune of Gray. But eventually they settled in Paris. We even have specific addresses, like Rue Rochechouart and later Rue Lamartine. And these details, along with documented birth dates and marriage records, really ground them in a specific time and place.
Yeah. It's really interesting to be able to, imagine them walking the streets of Paris, leading these seemingly normal lives, while at the same time, they're communicating with the spirit world. And speaking of normal lives, I was really surprised to learn that they were married on the same day, in August of 1857.
Yeah, August 1st to be exact.
That's...
Quite a coincidence.
Wow.
Yeah, Caroline, at the age of 30, married Émile François Frédéric Chalon de Maurier, and Pélagie, at 27, married Alfred de Neurisson, a civil engineer. They went on to have children and manage households, just like a lot of other women of their time. It makes you wonder how they balance these everyday realities with their incredible spiritual experiences.
Yeah, it really does. And this detail is something that it kind of challenges the common misconception that's even been portrayed in some recent media, that they were just teenagers when they met Kardec. So in reality, they were mature women who were fully capable of understanding and contributing to the complex ideas that were emerging at the time.
Exactly, and that's a really important point. They weren't naive girls. They were active participants in the development of Spiritism.
Yeah. So they were not passive bystanders. They were key contributors to the dialogue and the evolution of Spiritist thought. When we think of mediums, a lot of times people might be picturing these dramatic trances and seances, but that really wasn't their style at all. So can you describe how this passive mediumship worked?
Well, Kardec himself describes Caroline, and likely Pélagie as well, as being able to carry on conversations and even laugh while their hand was simultaneously writing messages from the spirits.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Engaging in everyday activities, while also serving as a conduit for communication with the spirit world. It's almost as if a part of their consciousness was completely dedicated to this channel of communication.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible to think about. And it seems like they took a very methodical approach to these communications as well.
Yes, and that's really important to note. The encyclopedia mentions the use of a carapeta basket in their sessions. This basket was held between two people. It required the participation of another person.
Yeah.
And contained a pencil that moved seemingly on its own to write messages.
Wait, so can you paint a picture of this for me? What did it actually look like?
Sure. So imagine a small, lightweight basket, perhaps made of wicker, suspended between two people. Inside a pencil is placed. And as the spirits communicate, the basket moves, guiding the pencil to write on a surface below. This method minimized the possibility of the medium's own thoughts or movements influencing the messages. It demonstrates a commitment to rigorous investigation, even in these early stages of Spiritism.
It's really interesting. It really highlights their dedication to ensuring the purity of the communication. So we have these two sisters in 1850s Paris practicing this meticulous form of mediumship. But how did Allan Kardec enter the picture?
Well, their paths first crossed in 1855 at the home of another medium, Madame Plenaison. It wasn't a chance encounter. The Baudin sisters actively invited Kardec to join their circle, sensing perhaps his potential for deeper understanding and exploration.
So they saw something in him, even before he became the renowned figure we know today.
It seems so.
That's amazing.
And from that moment on, their weekly sessions took on a new dimension before Kardec's arrival. The sisters were mostly engaged in lighthearted conversations with a spirit named Zephyro, but with Kardec's presence and his inquisitive mind, the session shifted to serious investigations into philosophical and psychological questions.
Zephyro, now that's a name that sparks curiosity. Who was this spirit, and what role did he play in these sessions?
Zephyro was described as a friendly, though not particularly elevated, spirit who acted as a guide and facilitator for the group. He was almost like a warm-up act, helping to establish communication and setting the stage for more profound interactions. You could almost say he was the comedic relief of the spirit world.
It's fascinating how even in these serious explorations, there's a touch of lightheartedness. It makes the whole thing feel more relatable, more human. But I'm really curious to hear about this shift in the sessions. What happened when Kardec joined the group? How did the Baudin sisters help shape his understanding of Spiritism?
Well, Kardec came to the sessions with this real thirst for knowledge. He would arrive each week with a list of questions, carefully thought out and very meticulously documented. These weren't just like idle curiosities. They were profound inquiries into the nature of the spirit world, morality, the afterlife, all those big questions. That would eventually become the core of Spiritist doctrine.
Yeah. And the Baudin sisters, through their mediumship, provided these answers, the insights that Kardec found so compelling.
Precisely. He was really astonished by the depth and consistency of the responses he received through them. You have to remember, he was a scholar, a man of logic and reason. And what he found, it wasn't just some vague spiritualism. It was a coherent system of knowledge that resonated with his own rational mind.
So it wasn't just about, contacting spirits. It was about understanding the structure and logic of the spirit world. So did the Baudin sisters' communications reveal any specific insights that directly impacted Kardec's work?
Absolutely. For instance, the concept of reincarnation, a central tenet of Spiritism, was heavily influenced by the messages he received through the Baudin sisters. They articulated the idea that the spirit evolves through multiple lifetimes, learning and progressing with each incarnation. And this concept resonated really deeply with Kardec, and it became a cornerstone of his work.
It's fascinating to think that such a fundamental principle of Spiritism was, in part, revealed through these sessions. It makes you wonder, what other key ideas might trace their roots back to the Baudin sisters' communications?
It's a question worth pondering. The encyclopedia mentions a particularly poignant message that came through the sisters, this time from Kardec's own spirit guide, the Spirit of Truth.
Oh, yeah. Kardec's spirit guide. You mentioned this earlier. What kind of guidance did the spirit provide?
Well, the Spirit of Truth acted as Kardec's mentor, guiding him on his path and helping him to shape the Spiritist doctrine. And one piece of advice stands out as particularly significant. It concerned the dissemination of these new ideas, the introduction of Spiritism to the world. The message emphasized the importance of a gradual approach.
A gradual approach? That's interesting. Why not share these revolutionary ideas as quickly and widely as possible?
Well, that's a valid question. And you can imagine Kardec's own eagerness to spread this newfound knowledge. But the Spirit of Truth understood that a measured approach, based on reason and evidence, would be more effective in the long run.
So it was about finding the right balance between sharing the truth and respecting the process of understanding and acceptance.
Precisely. Remember, this was a time of great upheaval, both religiously and scientifically. A completely new spiritual paradigm would have been met with skepticism, even ridicule, if it had been presented too abruptly.
Yeah. So it seems like every aspect of this process, from the communication itself to the dissemination of the ideas, was marked by this deep sense of careful consideration and strategy.
It really was. And it's crucial to understand that the Baudin sisters were integral to this process. They weren't just passive conduits, they were active participants, helping to shape the tone and direction of Kardec's work.
Their dedication to this work is truly inspiring, but their abilities extended beyond just philosophical and doctrinal discussions, didn't they? I read about a particularly fascinating example involving a famous writer.
Ah, yes. The story of Frédéric Soulet. He was a renowned French novelist and playwright who had passed away several years before Kardec even met the Baudin sisters.
So, how did the Baudin sisters and Soulet's spirit connect?
Well, through Caroline's mediumship. She channeled this lengthy and elaborate story, dictated by Soulet's spirit. Imagine that, a story from beyond the grave, a testament to the continued creativity and expression of the spirit world.
Wow, that's remarkable. What kind of story did he tell?
The story was titled The Thousandth Night of Arabian Tales. It was this multi-part epic that was even serialized in Kardec's own Spiritist journal. the review spirit.
This is what I love about these deep dives. You uncover these unexpected and almost unbelievable stories that shed new light on the possibilities of spiritual communication.
Exactly. And it challenges our preconceived notions of what that communication can encompass. It's not just about receiving guidance or philosophical insights, but also about artistic expression, storytelling, and perhaps even a bit of entertainment from the spirit world.
We have these incredible contributions from the Baudin sisters, shaping Kardec's work, channeling stories from beyond the grave. What happened to them after this intense period of activity? Did they continue working with Kardec?
Well, as it turns out, their active involvement with Kardec only lasted for about 2 years. And this coincided with a period of significant change in their life.
What kind of changes?
Well, remember, their double wedding in 1857. Soon after that, their family unit dispersed, and they became more focused on their roles as wives and mothers. Kardec himself notes that their sessions ceased around the end of 1856, just before the publication of the Spirits book in April 1857.
So, their lives took a different turn, leading them away from this active role in the emerging Spiritist movement.
Yes, and it's understandable. Life circumstances often dictate our paths, and for the Baudin sisters, this new chapter focused on family and domestic responsibilities. But their contributions during those crucial early years should never be underestimated.
Absolutely. Even though their names might not be as widely recognized as Kardec's, their impact on the movement was profound. They helped to shape its very foundation.
They were instrumental in connecting Kardec to the spirit world, providing the channel through which many of the core principles of Spiritism were revealed. And who knows what other insights they received, what other wisdom they shared that never made it into Kardec's published works.
It's a really tantalizing thought, the possibility of lost knowledge, hidden gems of spiritual wisdom that remain undiscovered. It makes you want to dig deeper, to explore the archives, and see what other treasures might be waiting to be unearthed.
Indeed. The encyclopedia acknowledges that much of their work might remain anonymous, scattered throughout the vast body of Spiritist literature. But even the glimpses we have showcase their dedication and suggest a high level of spiritual development.
It's humbling to think about their willingness to contribute so much, while remaining largely behind the scenes.
It speaks to a certain purity of intention, a focus on the work itself. Rather than personal fame or recognition, they were true pioneers, quietly shaping the landscape of a movement that would touch the lives of millions.
Their story is a powerful reminder that sometimes the most influential figures are those who work behind the scenes, quietly contributing their talents and insights without seeking the spotlight. And their dedication to the exploration of Spiritism leaves a legacy that continues to inspire us today. But there's still so much we don't know.
Yeah, it really does. It's like uncovering a hidden tapestry, thread by thread, revealing the intricate connections and the often overlooked contributions that have shaped the world we know today.
That's beautiful. It really is. And, you know the story of the Baudin sisters. It reminds us that history isn't just about, like, the grand narratives and the famous figures. It's about all the countless individuals who, through their passion and dedication, and oftentimes very quiet efforts, have contributed to the evolution of thought and the progress of humanity.
That's right.
Their story is also a reminder that seeking truth, it's an ongoing process. It's about, piecing together fragments of information and exploring multiple perspectives and remaining open to new discoveries. So just when we think we have a complete picture, a new detail emerges, a hidden story comes to light, and our understanding deepens.
Exactly. And as we delve deeper into the history of Spiritism, the story of the Baudin sisters, it encourages us to look beyond the familiar narratives and to question our assumptions and to remain curious about the hidden figures and those forgotten voices that have shaped the movement.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder, what other mysteries are waiting to be unraveled? What other stories lie dormant in archives and libraries, just waiting for the right person to come along and bring them to life, Perhaps one of you listening right now will be the one to unearth those stories, to shed light on the hidden corners of history and enrich our understanding of the spiritual journey.
That would be great. And that's the beauty of it all, isn't it? The quest for knowledge and understanding. It's a collective endeavor. Each of us can play a role in uncovering the truth, in piecing together the intricate puzzle of history, and expanding our awareness of the world around us.
So as we conclude our deep dive into the lives of Caroline and Pélagie Baudin, let their story serve as an inspiration. May it ignite a spark of curiosity within you, a desire to explore the often overlooked corners of history, and appreciate the contributions of those who have worked quietly behind the scenes to shape the world we know today. Remember, the pursuit of truth is a journey we embark on together, and every discovery, every new perspective, brings us closer to a richer and more meaningful understanding of ourselves and the universe we inhabit. So, until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.